Hi, I'm Dr. Deb Butler, and you are listening to Thinner Peace and Menopause and Beyond. This is episode number 492. Stay tuned. Well, hello, all my dear friends all over the world. Today is a special day because I've been thinking a lot about all of you. And I get a lot of letters about my thinner peace process. Either you're getting my emails or you're listening to my podcasts or you're seeing me on social media. And I'm talking about things about struggling with weight and being in menopause. And usually, if you have been struggling with weight your whole life and now menopause is making it harder than ever, you want to be listening to the things that I'm talking about. So if you're listening today and you've been listening for a while, I think you're going to find this very informative. And if you're brand new and you've never heard anything about my thinner peace process, I will educate you enough and help you move along of how you can learn more. So I have what I think will be very, very special for you is that I created a masterclass. And what this is, it's a video and it's on demand. And it's off of a class that I did earlier in the year that was very, very popular and helped people. Because one of the things that I have found with my thinner peace process, and let me just go over four of the most important tools about this thinner peace process. Number one, I really believe that by the time that you hit menopause, you need to be very connected to your body, which means that when your body says it's tired, you know how to rest it. When your body says it's in pain, you know how to help with the pain. When your body says it's hungry, you know how to fill it. Now, if you're anything like I was when I was younger, is I never considered if I was hungry or not because I was always on a diet. So I was going more by an external thing than an internal compass of what's going on in my body. So instead of wondering if I'm hungry or not, I'm just wondering, can I eat these points? Do I have enough points to eat? And, sometimes I was saving the points up, sometimes I was eating them all at once, but it was much more of an emotional thing than am I hungry or am I full? So, the first thing about my thinner peace process and helping you create thinner peace inside your mind and your body is to know when you're hungry and to know when you're full. And I have the beginning podcast. Like if you go back and listen to my first 5 podcasts, I talk about each of those tools in detail. But what I've also done now is I've put together a video where I'm making it even easier for you to put all of these beginner tools together and give you a way to start right away with everything in place and me explaining everything to you like we're in a class together. That's why it's called a master class, because I've mastered what I want to teach you. And all you have to do, you can play it when you have time. And it's not that long, but very, very specific on how to start losing weight in menopause by making peace. Like, I know probably you can lose weight. You've done it before. I also know that if you're in menopause, it's harder than ever to lose weight. So you don't want to keep doing this. You want to make this the last time that you have to lose weight or that you go on a diet. And this is not a diet. This is a way of connecting into your body by eating when you're hungry and stopping when you're full. So we always start with, am I hungry or am I full? And this new masterclass, I am calling it Peace, Food, and Menopause. And that's because there's no weight loss in it. And that's because I think that weight loss in the process that I teach is what happens. It's the byproduct of making peace with your food, making peace with your body, making peace. I think I've lost weight a lot, but I haven't been at peace. I was overeating, undereating, emotional eating, whatever it was, because I was very, very concerned about the scale and about how I looked. And I still want all of that for you, but I want you to be peaceful about the whole thing. So I'm calling this master class Peace, Food, and Menopause. And as I said in the beginning, it's available on demand, which means you can watch it anytime on your own schedule from the comfort of your home. And this is for you if you're in menopause and you've been struggling with weight your whole life. And menopause is making it harder than ever to lose weight. But menopause is also increasing the food noise inside your mind. Food noise has become a very, very important topic because most of the medicines that are being used right now are talking about working in the brain and calming the food noise. Now, what I find so interesting, and I don't have anything against the drugs themselves, but what I find most interesting is the process that I have created is to decrease the food noise. But instead of taking a shot, I'm giving you very specific things to do so that you can lessen the food noise in your mind. And it's like fixing your mind without taking a shot. And I know for some of you, maybe the shots are really, really helpful. And I have worked with people where we've worked with the thinner peace process and the medicine. But for those of you, if you've never learned how to quiet the noise on your own, I'm not saying try to find another diet. I'm talking about how to quiet the food noise in your own head about thinking about food all the time or thinking about what you already ate, feeling guilty about what you ate, feeling guilty about what you're going to eat, or just thinking about, for me, if I was on Weight Watchers, I was just thinking about how I was going to eat all my points. But I was constantly thinking about things. That's this food noise. So in my thinner peace process, I would say that's the most important thing that I teach is how to quiet it. And we start with the idea, the first way that you quiet it is to just ask yourself, am I hungry? And do I know when I'm full? And can I stop? And it's the beginning of doing that. So, in this masterclass that I've created, Peace Food and Menopause, you can go to drdebbutler.com/class, CLACCC. Oops, sorry, CLASSS. And you can get the class right away, the masterclass, and you can start watching it at your convenience. So, as I've talked about this, I just want to talk a little bit more about why this is so important and how it can help you and why I've made it. Because if you're anything like me and you were struggling with weight and you hit menopause and you found that it was really hard to lose weight and you thought maybe that you're just eating wrong or you just need a new diet, I did Weight Watchers for so long. And by the time I hit menopause, that wasn't working like it always did. I couldn't lose the weight as fast. But here's the thing that I want to tell you is that I don't want to try to help you lose weight fast. I want to try to help you lose weight for the last time and be so confident and so connected to your body that you don't have to do it again. Because usually it is slow, but if it's the last time, who cares? And if you learn skills that you can keep for the rest of your life, not only to lose weight, but to age proactively, to age peacefully, right? So if you're listening to your body, you're eating when you're hungry and you're stopping when you're full, and you're also listening to your body and putting it to rest when it needs it, and you stop running around like a crazy person or become what I call a pusher. And a pusher means if you're anything like I was or I am sometimes, I try to push through things when I should be stopping. And our bodies are giving us signals all the time. And I think menopause is a perfect time to start really listening to your body, right? So you rest when you need to rest, as opposed to, well, I can just do one more thing. So it's all about creating real peace with food, making real peace with your body, and no longer being at war with yourself and no longer not trusting yourself. In other words, food doesn't control you. You control food because you trust yourself. And in this class that I made, one of the main things that I talk about after I talk about eating when you're hungry and stopping when you're full and being able to recognize emotional signs of when you're eating to fill an emotion as opposed to eating because you're physically hungry. That's very, very important. But I think what people like when they've been listening to my podcast for a while. So if you've been listening for a while and you've been following along and you understand it, a lot of the emails that I get will say something like, but Dr. Deb, I just don't trust myself around joy foods. So joy foods in my thinner peace process are usually foods that are non-nutritious for your body. They don't do anything, but they taste really good. So for me, potato chips was one of the joy foods that I believed I couldn't eat if I wanted to be thin. But if I was already thin, then I would overeat them until I gained my weight back, and then I would stop eating them. And that wasn't the only thing, but I just didn't believe that I could eat those kind of foods and be thin. So, in the process that I teach you, and in this masterclass specifically, what I focus on the most is how to enjoy a joy eat and learn how to trust yourself. That's like the main thing of this masterclass, because I really believe that when you can learn the art of a joy eat, the art of eating a non-nutritious food like chips, cookies, brownies, or whatever it is in a very mindful way, which means you eat it slowly, bite by bite, and you stop the minute you're through enjoying it, which is the definition of a joy eat. I think it takes practice and I think it's a learning process because I think you've taught yourself to eat those foods to fill an emotion and then believe that you can't eat those foods if you want to be thin. So it's like if you're filling emotions, you can't be thin. And if you're thin, you're not eating those foods. Therefore, you don't believe you can eat those foods and be thin. And I think the only way to be at peace with food is to believe that you can eat anything that you want. And just because you have the belief that you can eat anything you want does not mean that you'll be eating potato chips all day long. In fact, it's just the opposite. It's when you tell yourself, I can't eat those, is when you start overeating them. There's something about the brain that when we tell our brains we can't have something, the brain focuses on wanting it. And this whole thinner peace process is all about working on the brain and lessening the food noise, which is what many of the medicines talk about all the time. But I believe my thinner peace process does that automatically. And I think in this masterclass, if you sign up for it by going to drdebbutler.com/class, CLASS, I think this is the beginning of how to turn down that food noise without taking a shot. So if you are taking the shots or you're taking the medicine, you still have to learn how to trust yourself with food, no matter what. So I believe that the thinner peace process works either way. But if you're one that you believe that you want to do it in a more natural way, I know I've created this process that will help you do it. And the masterclass is the beginning of showing you the art of eating a food with no nutritious value, which is what I call a joy food, and to be able to eat it mindfully and to learn how to stop without feeling guilty or without feeling like you have handcuffs on. And I really believe it's possible because I did it and I teach thousands of women how to do it. And now I've created this masterclass for you to be able to do it without listening to all my podcasts. It's kind of like I've taken a bunch of my podcasts and I put it into a class and taken some of the main points, which is really the art of a joy eat. And it's all about trust. And by the time you hit 50-ish, it really is time to be able to trust yourself in all ways, especially to be able to trust yourself around any food. And I give the example of one time I went out with a bunch of really smart women and we were having a business meeting and the waiter brought out a basket of bread. And these brilliant women started passing the bread basket, not to ask if you want a piece of bread, but to pass it to somebody else so it wouldn't be next to them, so they wouldn't eat it. These smart, brilliant women actually believed that they couldn't trust themselves with the bread basket sitting next to them. That's exactly what I'm talking about. I'm talking about learning how to trust yourself, trusting your hunger, and trusting yourself to stop when you've had enough. I want you to believe that you can eat anything. Just because you believe it doesn't mean you'll be eating potato chips all day long. It'll be the exact opposite. When you watch this masterclass, that's what I teach you. And I leave you with a very simple worksheet on joy eating. It's simple, but it can be revolutionary for you. And it's a way to quiet down the noise in your head. It's a way for the food to stop calling you. Your mind and body are back in sync. But I just want you to realize here's the truth is menopause does increase the food noise. So if you've been having food noise all your life and you hit menopause and you have not learned how to quiet it, it gets noisier. And now is the best time to learn how to do it once and for all. Because menopause does increase emotions. But because your emotions are increased doesn't mean you fill them with food. Menopause is a great time to start feeling what you're feeling if you've never learned how to do that before without eating. Many of us have trained our bodies to fill it with food when we feel emotional. So instead of feel, we fill. This masterclass is all about feeling and not filling. By being able to taste a food with no nutritional value and actually enjoying it without gaining weight because you don't overeat it and it does not increase the food noise. Food noise decreases when you believe that you can eat whatever you want. So, all you need to do is go to drdebbutler.com/class. You can get the class, it's on demand, and you can watch it when you're ready. You can learn to quiet your mind and you can reconnect. drdebbutler.com/class. CLASS. It's free. And I think it can change everything for you because it puts a lot of my podcasts into one video with the very specific action of learning and believing that you can eat whatever you want. Now, I would never end a podcast without saying to you, no matter where you go or what you do, please, please, please be very, very kind to yourself. And I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.